Good day everyone, so we're going to be doing a C0 run here with Nilou and Nahida. Of course all of the characters will have a 4-star weapon only, so I can obviously imagine that let's say you're an F2P player and you really love like Nilou, Nahida and Kokomi, then you might have very reasonably picked up let's say Nilou, and then on her rerun you would have gotten Nahida. Of course, since you're watching my channel and like me you've dedicated all your earthly possessions and everything to Kokomi, you obviously would have a Kokomi as well. I've always said that if you really like Kokomi, it's a good idea to sort of aim for her C1 at least, and I'm just sort of gonna follow what I preach. But yeah, here we are with Kokomi, just using a bit of a balance build, EM, HP and sort of healing bonus, nothing more required. Obviously you don't need a talent level 10 Kokomi, but I like my Kokomi, so why not? And here is Collei, of course, absolutely essential to this team. Collei really underrated by a lot of people. Right, so the first thing you'll notice here in this Spiral Abyss is we're quickly going to do the second halves, and you'll notice that the time on the clock started at about 8, 16, 17, whatever. This is just to sort of give you the impression of what happens if I, as an F2P player, struggled on the first half. Will this Nilou team be able to help me clear fast enough so I can still get my 3 stars? And the answer is yes, of course they can. And look at what I'm sort of doing here. So I've kind of engineered the gameplay a bit here, but I want to sort of show you how Nilou's ring, her water ring, is important when it comes to movement abilities and also still applying hydro on demand wherever you are. This is one of the things that a lot of people don't really talk about Nilou. They just think that Nilou is an artifact set that you press a button on and then you swap off, but that's not the case. There are so many active decisions that you can sort of make there with Nilou, and as you can see here in the background, despite us not really playing optimally, for those of you that have seen much more of my faster clearing times and so on, you'll know this is not optimal. But even despite the fact that we're not playing optimally, we don't have enough time on the clock, look how easy, look how comfy it is to clear the Spiral Abyss here. And that is actually what today's video is all about. If you just have a relatively decent Nilou team, look how comfy it can be. That is really what I wanted to sort of showcase today. So this is not about how fast you can go. If you want to go really fast, check out Jamie's channel and then you can see sort of how speedrunners really do it. But this is just sort of show you, look at this, we're being comfy, we're standing here in the middle, we hit both sides or all the enemies with Nilou's elemental burst, we apply 2 instances of hydro, we can deal more dendro core damage to an enemy that is not at our position or location, and we don't need to normal attack. It's just so good. And let's have a bit of fun here with Kokomi. So you can see her normal attacks doing nothing, but the combination of Bloom and Ocean Hue Clam set, look at that, just gives you that bit of damage bump up that you need. And here comes my favorite part. I activate all my abilities, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to press my elemental burst, literally ignoring all of the enemy's mechanics, and Nilou's team is just automatically going to take care of it. And once again, for those of you that were very cutely or that had like very keen eyes, you would have noticed that we didn't have enough time on the clock. So typically it would take you about 1 minute 10, 20 to beat the flying dinosaur. Once again, this just shows you that we have more than enough time with this Nilou team for you to easily get 3 stars. By the way, something really funny happened. So you might be wondering, well, why does it take me so long to beat the first halves? Well, every time I get close to beating an enemy, some sort of virus is in my computer, and you can see here my Yelan just sort of takes control and runs around like frantically. So this is why I've been losing a lot of time on the first halves and I couldn't clear it so fast. So obviously, jokes aside, so yeah, even if you don't have enough time, even if you're struggling on the first halves, even if you don't have a strong account, your Nilou team can certainly give you that bump up that you need on the second half. And that is actually just what I sort of wanted to sort of show you. So once again, with less time on the clock, can we beat the enemies or Magukinki in 45 seconds? And yes, we will be able to do so, as you'll obviously no doubt guess. You can see we're just launching our abilities, waiting for them to group up, and now my favorite part, we just spam our elemental burst, we ignore all their mechanics, and the Nilou Bloom teams will just sort of take care of everything automatically, even if we are frozen here with Kokomi. And this is just what's so fun about this team. It's just in an AoE, it's also so good, and I know a lot of people love Yao Yao, they love Xingqiu, they love all these other sorts of characters, but you've got to admit, this little Nilou Bloom team is just so much fun, and look at that, we still have more than enough time on the clock. Right, so that's it for the second half. Now, some of you might be wondering, well, what if I struggle on the first floor? Can I perhaps swap my teams around? And the answer is yes. For, let's say on chamber 1, this is the chamber you didn't get like your 9 stars or whatever, you can swap your Nilou Bloom team to clear the first half really fast. So you can see what I'm going to do. I'm just going to do this, use Nilou's sort of burst, and then I'm going to use a Kole E, and then I'm not going to use Kokomi's Jellyfish, just her normal attacks, because she can still apply Hydro without needing to activate an Elemental Burst, unlike some other characters. I plop my little Jellyfish, I tag them with Nehida E, Elemental Burst, again Elemental Burst, and now we're going to do this again, Elemental Burst. You kind of get like the pattern. You use your E abilities and then you just burst off cooldown, and it's just so comfy. We're just going to burst again, and none of this is optimal. None of the gameplay that I'm showing you is beyond what most people would be able to do, and as you can see, you should be able to then clear this floor under a minute with this sort of team. I think the only problem is, of course, this little Dendro Tiger. He does take a bit of time because he's just got obviously like more Dendro resistance, which is kind of the bulk of your damage, but even he is sort of easy to take care of. And then, of course, finally the Aeon Drake, so I'm going to show him here. I'm not going to show the little matrix thing on the final floor because it really is not a good match for Kokomi teams or for this Nilou team unless you've got like some really strong characters. But in any case, so yeah, let's say you're also struggling on this floor, you can also again beat up this boss. One of the things that you want to sort of note from the gameplay is that I'm using my Hydro abilities precisely at the time when I've got the maximum amount of Dendro on the field, so this is with Nehida and Kole. So Kole's E obviously gives you the Floral Ring, the Elemental Burst applies Dendro, and obviously with Nehida you have more than enough Dendro, and then your Hydro units can just layer on top of that their reactions. You maximize Dendro core production, and then you can maximize the damage. So that is kind of like how you want to do it. But yeah, that is what I wanted to show in this video, just show you how it can be done, except for the sort of little triangle as the final boss. All 5 of the other floors, very easy, very comfortable with this sort of Nilou team, and if you've been running it, it's just so good. But alright, thanks for watching and have a great day.